Have you a broken heart today? Even in the absence of recent ancestry with those who are current victims of war, terrorism, oppression, isolation, even wanton neglect or persecution by their governments, my spirit cries out. These victims are children of God. Their location doesn't matter. How do we make sense of conflict that, when not fed by political aggression, is so often fed by religious beliefs and differences? How do we work for peace and reconciliation there, and perhaps as importantly, in our own neighborhood, in an effort to both influence globally and to prevent that spillover expansion of hateful, hurtful, tragic consequences at home? The gospel lesson today from Luke 11, verses 47 through 51, speaks to the generational devastation that can occur when we carry the pains of the deeds of our ancestors. Jesus' admonition as to bloodshed and responsibility for centuries of killing of the prophets resulted in even more hostility from the scribes and the Pharisees that were present. So much fear and anger. My first reading of today's lessons caused me to ache for all who are living 2,000 years later with such hostility that their homes and families are being devastated through terrorism, gang violence, political and military actions. Many for whom efforts to flee such violence leads only to additional rejection or persecution. How is this still a reality for so many across so many continents of the world, full of resources and compassionate, caring children of God? As humans, we haven't learned still to live with our arms open. To recall that Mother Teresa encouraged us to remember that we belong to each other. I have zero capacity to physically assist a child traumatized by bombs forcing her to flee Ukraine with her grandparents while her parents remain behind. I have no ability to defend a civilian against terrorist action in a conflicted territory. No way to help a woman tortured for her choice of clothing in a country half a world away. However, I can be prayerfully and mindful I can be prayerful and mindful and active to fulfill Jesus' teachings and to address Mother Teresa's charge for creating new peace. We all have to believe in and work for a world in which light prevails, a world in which my God is your God and God for all. Today's reading from Romans reminds us that we have all sinned and are deprived of the glory of God, but that we are also justified freely by this grace. We have to take that gift, so freely given, and actualize it in our prayer, our conversations, and our everyday behaviors with all of God's children. God's compassion has to be our compassion. God's grace has to be our grace. God's peace has to be our peace. Everyone, everywhere, today and every day. Amen.